Look at how beautiful the crepe myrtle is. This is the best year it's ever bloomed. It's a Muskogee crepe myrtle. It's got lavender flowers. And it just looks so beautiful. Blooming at the same time in the same bed with the pinky winky hydrangeas, which are just starting to get a little bit of a pink tinge to them. I have to shoot almost straight up into the sky to show you the blooms because I'm so short and the tree's so tall. If I was taller, I'd be able to get both the crepe myrtle blooms and the pinky winky blooms into the same picture, but can't do that. But if I pull back a little bit, you can kind of get the idea. And the pinky winky are just going to continue to get the beautiful pink color on them. Let's take a closer look. It's about 7 in the morning, and the bees are working. They are up early. They're not stupid, right? You can see the pink color just starting. Down here. I think I have a little bit too much fun filming bees. But I'm just so fascinated by them. Whether they're fuzzy or not fuzzy, I just love that they're enjoying the flowers. So I just want to give you an idea of height as best I can. So I'm going to show you exactly where I pruned these back to. And avoiding the bees, prune them back to about here. Okay? Now let me just pull out so you see it. So it's sort of like, think of the base of this flower. And that's where I prune them back to. And look how much they grow. So again, with pinky winkies, don't be nervous that you're pruning back too much, because they grow wonderfully. In the last garden tour video I did, I showed you this really pretty branch that I left on the ground. But look at it. Doesn't it look like it's almost become a ground cover type of hydrangea? It's not. It's just the branch on the ground, but it's doing well. And so I left it. And I love how it just sort of looks like the shrub continues cascading down. So here's a straight ahead shot of the front facing the street of the center bed. And yes, we have a gorgeous blue sky and slightly less humidity this morning, so it's beautiful out. My next flush of the peach drift roses are just getting started. Still have the Geranium Rozanne going strong. The Yucca's enjoying itself back there. And the star of this bed are the pinky winky hydrangeas. And the crepe myrtle. Don't forget about me. Hello. I do have to remember that this year, this is also gorgeous. I'm not used to it being so beautiful. The last time we had such gorgeous blooms on this tree this early was, I believe, 2017 or 2018. We do get beautiful blooms every year, but never this early. And that's what I love, because it is a summer into fall blooming tree, and I love that we get them now so that they definitely bloom at the same time with color to look so pretty against the white of the pinky winky hydrangeas before they turn pink. I really love how big the flower heads get. It can be so deceiving when they first start budding out. Really neat. And again, you see just the beginnings of the pink color starting. And the pink's going to start going up very slowly up the flower head until it's pink and white. So pretty. So one thing I do love about crepe myrtle blossoms when they fall is they land on shrubs, and it's a little hard to see color-wise here, but I've got a combination now of berries on this shrub as well as pretty lilac blooms. So it looks kind of pretty. Another beautiful grouping of the Kalimeris. I showed you this last month and it was in its glory. It's taken a little bit of a rest now. You can see the Geranium Rozanne blossoms are a little bit less because of the heat of the summer. You can see the Starship Deep Rose Lobelia, oh, there went another blossom, has gotten taller, but the flowers are mostly on the end of the spikes right now. And over there you can see it's starting to get taller as well. And the totally tangerine Geum is just a vessel right now for holding on to the pretty blooms that fall, little tiny blossoms from the crepe myrtle up above. Now this is the little lime punch hydrangea in the lamppost bed. And again, I'll show you a picture from last month so you can see how it developed. It's very healthy. It did get a tiny bit, I'll zoom in here so you can see, it did get a tiny bit of brown on some of the tips during the heat wave, but that's okay. I mean, if that's all that was going to happen, I'm okay with that. What I'm also excited to see is the start of the color change. And Little Lime Punch is supposed to have a really vibrant color change. Almost like a red along with pink and then the ivory lime that you see. So like I said, this is my first year with this hydrangea. So I cannot wait to see how it looks. So what am I saying? I'm already enjoying the show and seeing the ever so slight color change as well as these beautiful lime and then ivory blooms. What a pretty hydrangea. Here's a pretty combo. You have Lantana next to the blue star juniper and a weed, providing a different color of green. Weeding is for a different day. I came out and did deadheading so far, but like I said in my last video about how to stay cool during a heat wave, I let weeding go until it gets a little bit cooler out. That's some blue star Kalimeris, and on the right is a blue star juniper again. Japanese Helleri in the background. Ducks in the sky. And what I really love, and you also have our river birch, is to see the beautiful way that the early morning sun hits these hydrangeas. These are little lime hydrangeas. So here's a really pretty grouping for you. So you have these pretty perennials with the reliable color of the blue star juniper and the gorgeous, gorgeous blossoms on the little lime hydrangea. Here's the Kalimeris I gave the Chelsea chop to about a month or so ago. You can see it's nice and bushy, and they're putting out a lot of beautiful, beautiful flowers. So pretty. And it's going to be a nice contrast to this one that I gave a Chelsea chop much earlier in the season to, which you can see is just covered in blooms. So most likely as this one eventually will start fading, even though they'll bloom all summer into fall, into frost, it's nice that I'll have a fresher one over here. And then here's my Bubblegum Candles Veronica again. I know I love showing you this because it's just so cute, right? So pretty. This is another Kalimeris that sort of died and then kind of came back, so I'm just leaving it. And then right next to it is another Bubblegum Candles Veronica. I had divided this one and it didn't work out great at all. I accidentally cut the top from the roots, but there was one root hanging on. So I stuck it in the ground and it took. Whew! I had to baby it. And then right back there is a Geranium Rozanne. I took a little bit of root with a little bit of leaf just to see what would happen. Planted it, it died. But now it looks like it's rebounding, so I'm really happy about that. Now here's a nice shot. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Arborvitaes make great backgrounds for all your panicle hydrangeas. And I guess your other hydrangeas too, but since I grow panicles, these are the ones I'm talking about. But especially the little lime, because they're predominantly lime until they eventually in the fall will change to a pink color. But when they're this color and they're backed up by the Arborvitaes, it's so pretty, isn't it? And let's get in closer here so you can see this. Just a beautiful lime color. Really fluffy, fluffy panicles. Some still starting out. And others in full bloom. And just up from the 3 little lime hydrangeas is this little quickfire hydrangea that was newly planted at the end of last summer. And it's doing great. It's got this stem coming up in the middle, which is nice and healthy. And the flowers are just so pretty. And they're just starting to get some pink on them. But they almost look so lacy, almost more vintage to me. And I don't know why I keep coming back to that word for these, but they just do. They're just so pretty. And again, just to give you a comparison, here's how the little limes look next to the little quickfire. So definitely a different look. We got little limes, and then the little quickfires with that pretty pink along with the white. And up from that is a new firelight, and that was just planted about a month ago. And as I mentioned to you at the time, I clipped off a lot of the flower heads so that the plant could focus. You can see I clipped one right there. But I clipped off most of the flower heads because I wanted the plant to focus on making roots and getting established rather than focusing on getting the flowers to do a good show. And what's great about that is you can see there's new flower buds coming out. And you can see them there. Now you will see a little bit of leaf damage, and that is how they arrived. I bought this from Proven Winners, and I think it's inevitable when you're growing hydrangeas in great masses to sell to the public, you will get 1 or 2 little leaves that will have some insect damage on them. It's no big deal. As you can see, all these newer leaves look completely healthy, so I'm not worried about it. So This year, it's all about getting this one established. Next year, it's going to produce a great show, so I cannot wait. And it'll look really pretty next to the little quickfire and the little limes. And just up from the hydrangeas is a really pretty perennial garden just starting. The first is a surprise. This is a black-eyed Susan Goldsturm. Mixed in, I think, right here, yeah, you've got some perennial Ageratum that decided to pop in there, and that's fine. I'll leave that because it's a pretty combo. So I planted these a couple years ago, and here's a picture. And they didn't transplant well. They looked awful. They started rebounding, but then the rabbits ate them up. So imagine my surprise when this year I saw these popping up out of nowhere. And that's what happens with black-eyed Susans. They never really go away, so you will get seedlings that pop up, and you can either remove them if you don't want them, or like me, you can say, wow, the rabbits haven't gotten them yet? I'll leave them. And to help them along, I planted these pretty purple flowers. This is Gaillardia, also known as blanket flower, but very different than the blanket flower you're probably used to seeing at the nurseries and garden centers, right? Those are usually yellow and orange. These are beautiful purple, and they're called Grape Sensation, and rabbits don't like them at all. And when I heard that, like I usually do, I said, gotta buy them, gotta put them in. So this is their first season. I bought these also from rareroots.com, which I said in a previous video how much I love them. They really have good quality plants. So they're just getting established this year. I planted 3 of them. And what's neat to see is when they're done with the blooms, they get these really cool balls. Aren't those neat? I think this is going to end up being such a nice mix in here of the sunflowers, which I will protect with chicken wire cloches when it comes time to in the fall. In the meantime, I'm spraying around them with rabbit repellent. You can check out above, I put a link and I'll put it in the description area about what I do for rabbit repellents that so far so good are working. And if they don't, I'll move on to other ones. And here's another little one right here. Another black-eyed Susan. So I'm thrilled about these. That was a nice surprise. And this is next to 2 piglet grasses that I replanted from the front of this bed last fall. So just to give you a look up this side bed, that's what you see. And this is the front of that bed. Got a piglet grass that's really loving its spot with a winter gem boxwood and a little lime right in front. And this is a river birch tree. Have some white salvia here, enjoying their new home. I transplanted them this year. And then up from the white salvia, you have Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus. You have annual Ageratum in front of the Kramer's Red Winter Heath, which has rebounded nicely from its pruning. The ones up further in the bed are still struggling a little bit. I don't think they're getting as much water as they should, but these ones have rebounded nicely. And then more Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus with the Japanese Helleri I showed you before. And then back to this beautiful grouping. In the other bed in the front yard, it's the other side bed. I have to start with the Veronica First Love, and a bee just left me because, like I said, bees get angry when I try to film them. They're like, I don't want to be on camera, I just want to eat. So this is the Veronica First Love that I just deadheaded 2 weeks ago. Look how beautiful. And I love how it looks in front of the Blue Star junipers behind it. Now next to it is the Royal Candles. And the Royal Candles, I had to deadhead the rest of the blooms that were still blooming. I'll put up a photo to remind you of what it looked like after I deadheaded it. Well, those all died off as well. But now you see I've got little ones starting again. And one over here. So they take a while, but they'll be back. And I'm really excited about that. So in between the bunny grasses and the catmint, which is just starting to come back after I deadheaded it about a month ago, it takes a while to come back, I planted these Millennium alliums and just planted 2 of them. Just wanted to try them out. And I like the way they're looking, so I may be adding more of these. I'd also like to add serendipity alliums, so maybe I'll go with those just for a little bit of a difference. But they're very pretty, and I think they look nice in front of the little Lime Hydrangeas. Now, this is the little Lime Hydrangea bed that is new as of last year. We took out the knockout roses and I replaced them with these little Lime Hydrangeas because I wanted something where I didn't have to deal with black spot, didn't have to deal with how ugly it was looking by August. It was just the roses could not handle the heat and humidity in this bed. So I said, you know what? I don't need to fuss. It's all about having your sanity in the garden, so plant stuff that works. And these are looking good. They're a lot shorter, obviously. It'll take a while for them to get to the height in the opposite bed. They get 3 to 5 feet tall and wide in their maturity. And again, you can see I still have plenty of the Geranium Rozanne blossoms, but they have died down a little bit. Again, that happens during the heat of the summer. But I do like how they find their way into neighboring shrubs. And more Geranium Rozanne with bubblegum candles on this side to mirror the other side of the front yard in front of a little Lime Hydrangea. And a Japanese Helleri, more Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus, and this combo, which is fantastic. My husband loves this combo because look at how the Geranium Rozanne has just decided I am going to make this little Lime Hydrangea look even better. God, is that pretty. And it doesn't affect the plant at all. They get along great. Up from the little Lime Hydrangeas are the little Henry Sweet Spires. Everything seems to have little in its name. But not this plant. This is a Mugo pine. Huge, right? This we planted in 2008 or 9 in the backyard and then dug it up when it was losing, it needed more space. We dug it up and put it here in the front bed and I just let it go. Unlike the other Mugo pines that I trim back and keep small, this one I've let go and I love how it looks, especially in the winter. It's very pretty. And look what we got this year. Pine cones for the first time. That's pretty neat. So it's a very old shrub. Very mature, and I love how it looks. In the fall, when these little Henry Sweet Spires start turning red and the red color lasts into December, they look gorgeous with the Mugo pine as a backdrop. And then you have the red and yellow twig dogwoods lining this bed. Somewhat as a privacy hedge and somewhat just as pretty foliage. I'm so much happier with this bed right now.